I really need an intro for this kind of thing. Alright, ahoy ahoy, I'm Planet Walk, and welcome to a chat with Flatzoid. Now, Flatzoid isn't here yet. I wanted to, do the intro without having to, without having to be like, alright, Flatzoid, be quiet, I remember thinking that there was something that I wanted to talk about before I had Flatzoid here, but I've forgotten it, so, we'll see. It will not be a conversation about Flat Earth, so if you've got questions for Flatzoid, please don't, make it all about Flat Earth. That will be annoying. Anyway, let me try to bring Flatzoid on. I don't know when he'll be here. Let me also make sure that I can see his chat, because he is also streaming too. So... But before I had Flatzoid here... Oh, that was not what I wanted to do. Also, whilst I'm waiting for Flatzoid, the live chat, I have... I don't have it today because it broke. I'm not sure whether it's OBS's fault or YouTube's fault. But, oh, here we go. Ahoy hoy.
How's it going?
That's going alright. How's your day been?
Are you doing well?
Yeah, I've been doing well. I had a bit of... had some noodles for breakfast. Probably not the best breakfast, but it's... Did you have anything good for tea, or?
Yeah. For supper I had wraps. Pork and avo salad wraps.
Oh, that sounds really nice.
Right. Whoa, shit getting tough in South Africa.
But yeah, no, it was very nice though. I am eating healthy these days, so I have to watch my calories.
Oh yeah, like I find that generally one of the best ways to eat healthy, at least from what I've found, is to just like cook stuff yourself. Is generally a pretty good way.
Yeah. I'm all for cooking self as well. Definitely.
Yeah. Anyway.
Rick, my wife went to a sunflower festival today. My daughter. And I said, take some pictures and tell me if the sunflowers are facing the sun. They're not. That shit's true.
Oh, wait.
Not just
TikTok.
I think there are other people in the background.
Yeah, they're in my background there. Yeah, guys, he can't hear you quite well, so I'm gonna have a little discussion with him, and then if you guys want to chime in later, then I think that'll be okay. So yeah, Planet Walk, what do you want to chat about, man?
Okay, so the first thing I want to chat about is actually something that was brought to my attention recently. This isn't really something too on topic, but we'll. And that is, I've heard you're looking for a new camera.
Yeah, I want to look at a new camera because you can see my camera is shitty with the light.
Did my video have anything to do with that? Because it was very conspicuous the time. No?
No, I've been saying this for a while though.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the thing is, that's the whole reason. Because I even have a exercise channel, and I've actually stopped doing that because of my camera quality. You know what I mean? I realize it doesn't really help having very bad camera quality when you want to actually do good work. That
is true. Generally, you want a camera that works well in low light. In fact, I forgot to turn one of my lights on, but you can also get like good lighting, and that can help as well. It's usually somewhere in the between the two is usually the sweet spot, and from what I found.
Yeah. But I was looking at, because I want to maybe get I don't want to maybe get another webcam. I'd rather get a proper camera, and then rather use the camera for. I was looking at the Sony A6 or whatever. Looked quite good.
Yeah, I've personally got a Canon EOS 200D.
Yeah, 200 is also not good.
Yeah, and that works pretty well. Only problem is that, so I use it as a webcam, but it has a problem of turning off every so often, and like every half an hour it will turn off automatically. And also it's annoying with, I can't use the autofocus with HDMI because it doesn't have clean HDMI if I'm using autofocus.
Yeah.
So yeah, generally would advise against getting a P1000 though, not because of any, not because of anything to do.
I don't think the P1000's made for this though. I mean.
Yeah, that is my point.
Yeah, no, it's not made for this.
Yeah, hold on.
I want to get a functional camera that I can stream with, and if I wanted to put a lens on to do, then I can do something.
Yeah. I'm just going to turn myself down a little bit because people said I'm a little bit loud. And so, actually, someone said I'm not on the correct mic. Let me change that. It's annoying. It's been annoying lately. It won't. Properties. Yeah, that. Hold on, 1 second.
No stress.
Okay, hopefully that's better. Let me know if.
Sounds the same to me, so it doesn't bother. It's fine, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think I've got it set to the Yeti on Discord, but not on stream. Not on. Okay, everyone's saying much better. Okay, that's good. Anyway, let's get to the actual subjects. Philosophy. What do you think about philosophy?
What about it? It's a bit more. It's a bit vague. What do I think of philosophy? I think it's a good thing, though. It's good to have philosophy because philosophy is what drives everybody's opinions.
Yeah, I sometimes get annoyed when it comes to people talking about certain things, and they're acting as though they're talking about something like science when they're actually talking about philosophy. And to me, that gets annoying because there is some times where you can use science to inform certain things, but a lot of the time you're talking about philosophy. Like if I say, oh, the thing is bad because science says this, well, that doesn't mean that the thing is bad. You have to go, okay, well, what are we defining, what are we saying is bad about it, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's why I don't agree with philosophy of science. Because science is supposed to be empirical. It's not supposed to have anybody's opinions annotated towards it. Not that I have anything wrong with philosophy. I just don't think you should be mixing philosophy in with science.
Well, actually, I would disagree with that. Because when it comes to philosophy, I think that a lot of it informs how we do science. Like, it's this whole thing of how do you gain information about the world, right? Now, we could go, okay, well, we just observe something and that's how we gain information. But then you'd be stuck with just observations, and to try and test things that are a bit more out there, you wouldn't be able to really get that.
No, you see, but this is why I have the issue. It's like we don't want to talk flat Earth, so I don't want to bring up the globe or anything. But when it comes to science, and for instance, black holes, okay, it's based on a philosophical view that you need it to exist. So therefore, you clump science into that philosophy worldview. So it doesn't make it science; it makes it pseudoscience.
Well, a lot of it is natural conclusions. So if I have, like, if I say that 1 + 1 = 2, we can all agree on that. And then 1 plus 1 + 1 + 1 = 3, and so on. The natural conclusion is that, and we say 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 is 4. The natural conclusion from that is 2 + 2 = 4 as well. Right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of times now, when it comes to things like black holes and that, it's a natural conclusion of something else. So if we take Einstein's theories of relativity as truth, I know you may not agree with that, but if we do, then the natural conclusion of that would be that black holes would exist. I think there's maybe another thing to do with like Schwarzschild radiuses or that. But yeah.
I understand. No, but I understand what you're saying. But you understand, like for instance, now you're going to have to postulate further. Okay, because there's a such thing as a black hole now, there has to be white holes.
That is something that I'm not sure, and I'm getting a lot of things in the background, which is really annoying.
I'm hearing some background. It's like muffled.
But
there we go.
Where was I? I don't think you necessarily need white holes, because we can actually get to how a black hole would form, and we can say, okay, this is how a black hole forms. It's when there's too much density in one area. I can't see the same thing for white holes.
Well, let's first go back to the black holes then. How do you know how a black hole is formed? How did you test it scientifically?
Well, it would be there's this thing to do with the I mentioned it earlier, the Schwarzschild radius, where if you have enough matter within a certain space, then a black hole can form. There's been, I think, observations done with other stars going nova, and the way that they go nova fits with what is expected in. I'm sorry. The background noise is really distracting, but because it fits in with the science, or fits in with the standard model, not standard model, with how astrophysics says that stars work and all that kind of stuff, we can then go, okay, well, if this kind of star goes supernova, then we'd expect it to then leave behind a black hole.
Yeah, but you see, that's what I'm saying. That just goes on to pseudoscience. That's all philosophical. It's not scientific. You haven't actually done any science there, other than say making circular reasoning. If I say this, therefore something else. That's not science.
Well, then you run into the thing of if we observe that kind of thing happening and then it doesn't happen. So if we observe the thing of a star going supernova that would expect to create a black hole from that, and then it doesn't create a black hole, then there is a problem. But another point to make is that there have been observations done of black holes. The black hole. I can't remember the name. I think it was M88 or something. And there was like a project.
The one that looked like a donut.
Yeah, those ones.
No, you see, there was just a whole bunch. There was an artist rendition of a whole bunch of data accumulated. It wasn't an actual photograph.
Well, a photograph is essentially a whole lot of data that's accumulated by sensors.
Yeah, but that was ones and zero data.
Everything is ones and zero data.
No, but it was literally not a picture, because you can't see not light, so they can't observe a black hole. They can only render it as what they would think it would look like,
based on data that anything that is rendered to a screen, like whether it be me on camera or all that is based on data that is gathered.
But like I'm saying, with a black hole, you can't actually observe a black hole. There is nothing to observe because there's no light.
Well, there is light that comes from the certain things that are around it.
The event horizon.
Yeah, and that is the light that we can observe.
But there's no event horizon to see. That's the issue.
There's there is light that doesn't go beyond the event horizon that is bent around the black hole, and that is the light that we can see, and that is the light that we observe.
Yeah, but you see, now we're getting into the argument of the philosophy of it. That's why my whole argument was it's not scientific, because now it's what we think it is, how it should be, and therefore it is. And that's why I say it's just philosophy, it's not scientific. You haven't actually done the science to prove what it is, what you say it is.
Well, this is where we get into the philosophy of science, right? So we can go, we expect to see a thing, right? Based on what our models say, and then we go, okay, we expect to see this. Do we actually see it? And if we actually do see what we expect to see, then then that doesn't confirm that the model is correct. It only fails to show that it's wrong. If it
but that's what I say. It's like circular reasoning. You're not actually doing science towards it because you haven't tested anything. You haven't manipulated any variables. What variables have you manipulated?
You've tested to see if you've got a hypothesis, and it's that the images that we get of a black hole will look a certain way, and you see, okay, does this match the hypothesis? If it matches the hypothesis, then you have failed to disprove the hypothesis. If it doesn't, then there is a problem with the hypothesis.
Yeah, but that's not manipulating any variables. That's just, again, correlation. That's circular reasoning. That's why I say it's not scientific.
It's not circular reasoning.
Because you're saying we should see it this way. If we see it this way, then therefore it is. It's let's put it another way. Let's go back to ancient times. We see the sun rise, so therefore me waking up means the sun rose because I woke up. I saw the sun rose because I woke up. Therefore, the sun rose because I woke up. It's all circular reasoning.
That's not what's going on with the photography thing. What we're saying is this is what we expect to see, right? Based on this data, right, and this hypothesis. Yep. We then test to see if that's what we actually see. Now, it might not be what we actually see. And in that case, if it isn't what we actually see, then we have shown that our hypothesis is wrong. If it is what we actually see, then we can't say that our hypothesis is definitely correct, but it lends evidence to it possibly being correct.
Okay. Would you understand that a hypothesis requires an independent and dependent variable?
Not in all cases.
Then it's not science.
That's only a very rigid...
If you're based on natural science, you require an independent and a dependent variable. If you don't have it in your hypothesis, you don't have science.
Not in all cases. There are different ways of doing science that don't require... generally, there will be some kind of dependent variable. I agree with that. But it doesn't always require an independent variable or that you have to physically manipulate or anything like that. That is, there are times when you can have, hey, let's see how this reaction, like a chemical reaction, works. Where you want to see, you don't have an independent variable, all you have is the chemical reaction and then the product. Right?
Yeah, but that's where the science stems off of, because then you're going to say, okay, I saw this chemical reaction happen, but what caused that chemical reaction? And that's when the science comes in, because now you do have an observation. You're able to go and make an independent variable to figure the cause out for it. That's why the first step is always the observation.
Sometimes it's just, okay, a chemical, I want to know what these two chemicals create. And that's the science that you're doing is taking something like, let's say, sodium and hydrochloric acid, putting the sodium in there and finding out what that actually creates.
Yeah, but once you observed it, then you have to figure out what caused it. That's what science is there for. Science is the original cause for the effect observed. So now that you've observed that effect, you need to say, okay, now my new hypothesis should be, okay, why did it cause this?
Well, no, my hypothesis could be something as simple as, I think it will create create hydrogen gas and sodium chloride, right? And also have a miniature explosion or something. That can, if that is what happened, if that is what is created from it, then that confirms my hypothesis. If it's not what's created, then obviously my hypothesis is flawed.
Yeah, but like I said, but you just now created a route, a study, because part of the scientific method is researching. So that's your part of research for your observation. So now you said, okay, I'm throwing this together, I want to see what chemical reaction makes. Great, it made a chemical reaction. Now what? Well, to move further, you're going to have to go and say, let's see why it caused this chemical reaction. And that's where science steps in.
Or I could...
Science steps in for figuring out why it's what... Because science is about how nature works.
It can also...
I just observe what nature is. Yeah, I can throw red dye into water and watch... I say, okay, the water's going to turn red. Great. That's not science. I still have to say how it caused it to happen.
You don't always need to... sometimes it's not about the cause. Sometimes the cause is very simple. It's just, chemical reactions doing this thing. Sometimes it can be, okay, but what is going to be the product, right? So a good example, I think, is there's been... I asked, I think, my... it was back in high school, I asked a chemistry teacher if there is any way to create a molecule that contains krypton. Right? And it could be possible to do so. And I can have a few hypotheses about what the properties of the molecule will be and all that kind of stuff, but then I have to go and how it will be created, and the science involves trying to actually come up with the end product. It's not so much about why it happens. Sometimes we know why the things happen. If you're going to do something like stripping electrons from atoms to be able to make them bond to other atoms, then you know why that's happening, but what you don't know is the result of what that is going to be, if that makes sense.
No, I understand. It's the same as when you do kind of mechanism. Let's say you trial and error is the words I would say.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like let's say you're trying to figure out how to fix something. Let's say you've got a machine that's broken. Now you're trying to figure out why is it broken? Let's see what's going to fix it. If you're not going to figure out what the cause is and how to fix it, you're just going to carry on saying, oh, let's just put a patch there because I think that is why it's broken. Okay, that still didn't work. Okay, let's glue that part because I think maybe that's why it's not working. If you're not actually going to say, okay, let me see what the cause is for why it's not working, it's not going to be, you're not actually going to get to the cause of the problem and actually get the solution. That's why science is there. The science is specifically about figuring out the cause for what you observe.
But not every machine is broken. Sometimes you're creating a machine to see how effective it is in solving a particular problem.
100% agree.
So,
but that problem it's solving is based on you trying to figure out a cause.
Not necessarily. If I just want to make a machine that goes faster, right? I don't need to know. I don't need to figure out the cause of how things go faster. I just need to figure out how to make things faster.
That is cause for faster. It's like a motor car. You have to know if you have to know combustion engine. It needs fuel and air. Those are the main causes. If you don't have the knowledge of those causes, you're not going to know how it's going to work. You're just going to say, okay, let's make a combustion engine. I don't know what's going to cause it to move, but hey, let's just throw.
But if you
help the wind and hope it works.
If you already know the causes of how it moves, then you don't need to try and figure out the causes. What you have to do is you have to
because
try and figure out how
science
to
gave
make
you-
it faster.
That's my whole argument. That science gave you that knowledge to know what was the cause.
Yeah. And so if you're trying to create something that goes faster, it may be that you've got a hypothesis of changing this small thing about the combustion engine will make it faster.
Make it
Right?
more efficient. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you tweak that thing, and maybe it does go faster. Maybe it doesn't go faster. If it doesn't go faster, you've got to figure out something else to make it go faster. If it does go faster, then congratulations, you've made a better combustion engine. It's about, at that point, you're not so much trying to figure out causes or anything. You're trying to figure out what produces a certain result. You don't need
Which
an
is
independent
figuring out a cause.
You don't
It's
need.
the same as when you take a car and you stick it on a dyno, and they say, "Oh, it's running very lean." You want to figure out why it's running lean so you can sort out the problem. You're not just going to say, "I don't need to know what's causing it. Let's just change a few things here and hope it works." You see, that's nonsensical. That's why I say it's not actually science what you're pushing here. I understand what you're saying, where you can put things together and hopefully you get a reaction based on that, but that's not science. Science is specifically about figuring out how nature works, how things work in nature.
Sometimes
And that's why it figures out the cause. So you're
Sometimes-
trying to observe something and you're trying to say, okay, this is the cause for that. Is it the cause or not?
sometimes
That's
it's not
simply
about.
what science is.
Sometimes it's not about the cause. Sometimes it's about the result. There's, like, when it comes to LEDs, right? A lot of people knew how. You know, we know how LEDs work. For a long time, we've known how LEDs work. And for creating, I think it was blue LEDs, there was a lot of issues with that because it wasn't so much about what causes an LED to work. We knew what causes an LED to work. It's how do you actually make that LED. There was a particular method that went through where it was, okay, will this actually produce an LED that produces blue light? And I think there's a Veritasium video on it where you have to, and essentially the whole thing is there was a long process, and some companies some people thought that it was nearly impossible to create a efficient blue LED. But eventually this one guy came up with a process for creating efficient blue LEDs.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
all based on cause and effect relationships.
Well, he wasn't trying to figure out a cause of anything. He knew that if you have this particular thing, then that should create a blue colour.
Yeah, cause and effect. Exactly.
Well, he already knew that. He wasn't trying to figure out the cause of it. He was trying to figure out, okay, how do I actually produce
make it more efficient to work? Yes.
Produce the LED itself?
Yeah, but that's the same. That's why he needed the cause.
But he already had the cause.
If you don't work on the efficiency of the cause, then he's not going to get his desired result.
He already knew the cause, though.
It's the same as, let's say you're trying to bake a cake and you decide you don't want to put in a item in there that keeps it binding. If you don't put a binding agent in, and you expect it to be bound, it's the same thing. You know you need a binding agent in there, so you need the cause to keep it binding.
Yeah, but if you want to come up with different flavors and stuff, you're no longer trying to work out the cause of anything. What you're trying to do is you're trying to just play around with different flavors and stuff. You're no longer in the realm of trying to figure out causes. You're in the realm of experimenting with different options.
I think there's some miscommunication thing going on, because I think we're saying the same thing.
Maybe it can be hard to figure things out, or figure out I know sometimes I've had miscommunication with people, and it's been simply because we're using slightly different language.
It's I said, we might be saying the same thing. We're just kind of talking past each other. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like there is a little bit of that, but like also I feel like there is a slight difference in how we process things. If that makes sense. Like I'm trying to say that you don't always need to science isn't always about trying to find out the cause. Sometimes science is about trying to figure out how to make a certain thing happen.
Yeah, and that's why I say yes. That is finding a cause.
Not necessarily. It's about how do you produce something, and or what is the result of something. Sometimes you already know the cause, you just don't know the result.
Yeah.
Like if you.
Okay.
I think the cake analogy was pretty good because it's like, oh, if I put if I want to get this flavor here, then the what I'm trying to do is find out the result, the flavor, but I don't need to work out any of the causes. I just need to.
Yeah.
Anyway, another thing that's related to philosophy, and I tuned in a little bit before I called you, and I noticed that every time I heard you talking about trans people. Every time I listened, there was something going on about trans people, which is to do with philosophy, I think. A lot of it is to do with philosophy.
I would agree with that. I would agree with trans, it is philosophy. It's people's opinions and beliefs. So I do agree with that.
Yeah, like a lot of people will try to say, you're like people might say to me, oh, you're he, him because of science, and I'd say no, it's because of the social standards around. I'd say that there are social standards around how we address people. Like you wouldn't. A lot of people would find it rude to be called it, right? Even though it is a pronoun that you can use to address a person, it's just rude because it's generally used for objects.
Yeah. But that's why I don't really. I mean, you probably understand that I'm not really the one that cares about pronouns and what people identify as their gender to be. Because, like you said, it's just a construct. It's made on what people feel they should be labeled as.
But don't you think that, in general, should be some kind of respect given? Like, if I have known people that will go out of their way to misgender cisgender people, right? Just because it annoys the cisgender person. And at that point, it's not about... Like, that is not about some adherence to truth. That's about, just disrespecting that person. And I feel like when it comes to trans people, it is something where it isn't really an adherence to truth a lot of the time. It's just disrespecting someone because either you can't be... Like, there are people that can't be fucked changing their attitudes or anything. And I feel like it's a respect thing.
Yeah, but you see, I'm on the other hand where I say, because I'm a Christian, okay, and I don't want to lie. If you get to someone and say, okay, I want to identify as a tree or a cat or whatever, and I know full well you're not a tree or a cat, do you think it's right to expect me to lie and go against my belief system just to appease you because you want to be called that?
I would say that it depends in which context, because as far as I'm concerned, there is a social idea of gender which is not related to sex. Hell, like even before I viewed myself as trans or anything, there would be a lot of people who would say that I wasn't a man. And all of a sudden, now that I'm trans, I am the epitome of masculinity somehow.
I see what you're saying. Like saying, no, you're misgendering yourself. Is that what they're saying?
Well, it's gone from you. You're not a real man to you are now a man kind of thing.
Well, you should take that as a compliment, though, because it shows you've grown up.
Well, no. The only thing that changed there was the way that I identify. It's done.
But I think it does come from, like you said, the context of what the person's discussing with you, maybe. Because if you have to look at it based on actual orientation, you would have to agree your sex is male.
Oh yeah, I do agree that probably by most metrics. I have never checked my chromosomes, but I assume they're XY. But by most metrics, I am probably male, right? Because
I mean, I'm sure you agree. You were born with a penis. You don't have a uterus.
Yeah,
you don't have a womb.
I would agree with that. However, when it comes to the social contract, the social construct of gender, then I fit more in with being a woman rather than being, if you look at my hormonal profile, like it is definitely like more in line with being female than being male.
Did you do any hormonal tests on this?
Yes, I did actually.
If I could say, because you do know it also depends on the type of foods you eat and medications you take and things.
Oh yeah, like I know that when it comes to like my hormonal profile has changed, but like there are different metrics that I can look at, but also there's when it just comes to socializing around people treat me like a woman. People I have been hit on in bars by creepy dudes, and I mean they try, after they work out that I'm trans, they try to insist that they're straight, but they're still trying to hit on me. And so
people do say weird things when they're drunk, by the way.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I am not only are there a lot of metrics that I can point to where I fit in more with womanhood, there is the fact that I am treated a lot by society as a woman.
Well, let's put it this way. If you had to maybe cut your hair to a kind of man's hairstyle and maybe just do some exercise and get more of a build, do you think you would still be contacted more as a female?
I'm not sure, because there is definitely, like, I don't know if you've seen me try to pull off short hair, but I did not look very masculine when I have a wig that I use. I did not look masculine at all. So,
well, to be fair, I mean, I've seen some women that look more manly than men, and some men look more feminine than females. You do get that. It is part of it. But at the end of the day, I think it comes down to what were you biologically born as.
But then there's issues with that. Like, there are people where it called, like, the idea of, well, no, I'm just talking about, like, when it comes to gender dysphoria, right? There are people that experience really intense gender dysphoria and forcing them to be referred to in a certain way causes them distress. Do you think that you would
agree then that is actually a mental problem, though, not a physical problem?
Well, it's the best way to solve that problem is to refer to them how they want to be referred to.
But you see, that's where it comes back down to where I was saying I would find it more disrespectful towards me to say I should lie just to make you feel good about what you want to be presented as, where you're not actually presented at.
Well, it's not exactly
because that's based on, like I said, it's almost like a mental block kind of thing. You're trying to say, hey, I want to identify this, and if you don't agree with me identifying this, then you're just hated towards me. And I see it on the other way, like, hey, I'm a Christian, I don't really want to lie, and I find it insulting to expect me to lie just to appease what you think you should be.
Except you're not exactly lying, because there's a difference between sex and gender. Like, you can agree that by a lot of metrics I'm a male, but still treat me like a woman.
Not actually. I mean, when you grew up and you read, let's say you're in primary school and they're teaching you about Sally and Johnny, a boy and a girl, okay?
Hmm.
Is that based on sex or is it based on gender?
Depends what it involves. If it involves any biological characteristics, then it's based on sex. If it's just based on social roles, then it's based on gender.
Well, let's say the book usually says Sally played with the Barbie dolls while John, her brother, went and kicked the soccer ball outside. Mm-hmm. It's very clear on who's the male and who's the female.
Yeah, those are the gender roles. It's talking about gender roles.
Yeah, so it's gender. It's gender explaining which one is female and which one is male.
But then, like, also you could have... There's no reason why it has to be that way, right? There are a lot of gender roles that people don't feel like they fit into. And sometimes forcing people to fit into those gender roles for whatever reason or another causes distress. Like, you know, making me have... Like, I hate having really short hair. Like, if you were to say, tell me to shave my hair off, that would be very distressful. And forcing me to fit into a gender role like that would be something that I'd, dislike.
Well, I actually had long hair at a stage, believe it or not. I was like a rocker. I had long black hair. But I never had the issue of, I must have short hair or long hair or whatever. I mean, I think I'm also not under the peer pressure of worrying what people really think of me, so it doesn't bother me if they're going to label me as a woman or a man or whatever. It's not going to give me stress in that kind of basis, I would say. But it would be insulting if they're trying to say, you're looking kind of feminine, where clearly I'm not, you understand?
Yeah, and that's like one of those things where, like... If you're told to put on a dress, you're no longer Flatzoid, you're Flatzoidia, or I don't know what the feminine, but that kind of thing could cause you distress because it's not how you want to be perceived. If you go out and suddenly everyone's perceiving you as a woman because you've been forced to put on a dress. Don't you think that would be distressful to you?
If they're trying to make me go something against what I am, that's a different story. Yeah.
But I would argue that that there might be something deeper. Like, have you seen the movie She's the Man?
Yeah.
Good
movie, by the way.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. The actress for that, she actually got really depressed from filming that movie. She was experiencing gender dysphoria as a cis person because she was being forced to present male.
Yeah, but that's Hollywood for you, though. That's what you expect. They really get pushed into uncomfortable roles that they don't really want to be forced into.
But that's...
So, yeah, I understand that.
That's the whole idea of gender...
That still doesn't change. It still doesn't change the fact that she went into it willingly to play that role.
Regardless of whether it's willingly or not, like...
But the thing, does it change the fact that she was still a female?
No, it doesn't, but it is something where, by being forced to do that, she did experience gender dysphoria,
She wasn't forced. That's the point. She went into it willingly. She signed the contract to take the role. But she could have just said, "No, it's okay. I'm not gay." Amanda Baines is the actress, by the way. She could have just said, it's okay. It goes against my values, and I don't want to do it. So she had the choice to do it. Obviously,
sometimes you don't realize sometimes you don't realize what is going to happen from something. You know, like if it is possible that you could sign up to be like a quarterback and not realize that you're going to get your head smashed in. You know, because you've watched one too many movies. When it comes down to these kinds of things, a lot of people don't realize that gender dysphoria is a thing. You know, you might be okay, like Flatzoid. You might be okay doing like drag one night, right? For laughs, but then like being repeatedly, you know, pushed into that position, you would then potentially develop, you know.
Well, it's actually a very interesting thing, because it's the same when you get into the fitness world and you see a lot of people that start taking steroids. They have body dysmorphia. It's the same thing, because they kind of get a mental, how can I say, block, that they see other people and they start saying, hang on, I've got to what my goal was, but it's not enough. I've got to carry on going. And they actually see themselves as small and fat. But in the meantime, they're not, because they're comparing them to someone else. That's the same thing, but that's what I'm trying to say. All this is just mentally based. Even how you feeling about this, it's all mentally based. Now, I can go into the spiritual aspects of it, but it doesn't help because I know you're not spiritual. So I don't really want to push my spirituality onto you. That's why I'm saying, yeah, but like, when we talk about philosophy, I 100% agree it is philosophical.
But like when it comes... Yeah, but when it comes to like, we can agree that it's, that a lot of this is mentally based. Like, it's all in the head. Like, if someone has depression, you know, sometimes a good way to combat that is using SSRIs. Maybe not all the time, but like a lot of times you can give someone SSRIs and they will start feeling better. It's a mental problem, sure, but it
does have. But I mean, you can get side effects from that as well. I mean, even with, like I was talking now, if people...
I mean, all medication has all medication has side effects, though.
Oh, obviously. But I mean, even like with SARMs, with the bodybuilders, when they start taking steroids, they start getting attractions for the same sex, which they never had before because of the hormone imbalances and things that they get. So it can be based on physical... how can I put it, chemical imbalances that cause this mental side effect. It doesn't specifically mean the person is wanting to feel that way. They just feel that way based on side effects from the things that's happening. But your environment can even affect this.
But regardless of that, like, if there is a mental issue, right, then the best way to address anything mentally is to take steps to alleviate it. So in some cases, like with body dysmorphia, it may be a good idea to, because dysmorphia usually means that there is actually nothing that you can, from what I've heard, like there's nothing that you can really do to achieve what is considered the optimal body type.
You keep moving the bar. Moving the bar.
And in that case, it's something which is unachievable. In cases of dysphoria, there is an achievable standard that you can get to if you are treated a certain way, and you are, like, if you're treated a certain way and you know, you present in the way that you'd like to, right? Like I personally, I get a lot of dysphoria looking at old photos, like when I was early transition, right? Because I did not look great back then. But like now, I don't get nearly as much dysphoria. And like
you've kind of got used to you've kind of got used to how you feel about it now.
Yeah. Well, not so much. Like, it's one of those things where I look very different. But then also, there's the way that people treat me. Like, there are people... It does become uncomfortable when people go out of their way to, you know, not treat me in the way that I identify. However, it is pretty good when people people treat me in accordance with my the gender that I identify with.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where the solution there is not to try and, convert me out of being trans. The solution there seems to be to, be affirming.
Yeah, because I've seen it a lot as like, because of my beliefs and stuff, people kind of say I'm transphobic and I'm hateful and stuff, but that's not the case. I mean, I try and talk about like this because I care, you understand? Because we care about people. I've seen too much people that's gone through full transitions that has just had very bad impacts on them and their families around them and stuff.
But like
so it's mostly more negative than positive when it comes around us.
But a lot of that has to do with like how they're treated. Like if you if you get treated like shit, then of course your experience with doing whatever it is will be, shit. Like if you're a nerd, right? I was a big nerd in school, and there would be people that would try to treat me like shit for being a nerd. It's not that I was a nerd and I shouldn't be a nerd and being a nerd is bad and being a nerd will cause you problems. It's that the way that I was treated was causing me problems.
Yeah, but it's not always how they're treated. A lot of people are peer pressured into making the transition.
I would disagree with that.
Then they regret it afterwards because they were peer pressured from, for instance, a doctor or their school or parents or whatever.
If anything, I was peer pressured away from being trans.
So you would take it that because of that, you almost have a rebellious side. It's like, well, because you're trying to do this, therefore I'm going to go ahead and, just do how I feel. But this is what I say. It comes to the spirituality side when I believe.
Well, I'd say that people were trying to pressure me away. Like it was more anything that was perceived as feminine was perceived as something bad and something that I shouldn't do. There was a lot of pressure for me to not be feminine and instead conform to masculinity. And for a time, I did, but that simply wasn't me, right? And so for me to go ahead and be trans is actually not conforming to that peer pressure. A lot of other trans people, I've spoken to a lot of trans people, and they've felt the same way. There's been a lot of pressure not to be trans, but to instead conform to gender roles, gender expectations, and they find by doing so that they aren't feeling fulfilled, that they actually feel worse about themselves, and then eventually, it takes a while, but they accept themselves as who they are.
Yeah. No, I understand where you're trying to go from, but let's just say, okay, let's say you were I had a friend who was a tomboy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
She had a lot of traits, like, hanging with the boys and doing all the boy stuff, and that's how she grew up. I played with Barbie dolls until I was like 13, by the way. So I had it from both ways. I didn't bother me. But I understood where I was. When I knew, okay, I was born a male, that's who I am. That's why I said it comes to spiritual kind of thing. If you understand God created you in his image and stuff, and you are made for that purpose, if you're trying to go against that, it's kind of like saying, God, you created me imperfect. But as I said, with me, I'm spiritual, you're not. So you can't really compare it the same. Philosophically, but to me it's like, yeah, I understand, okay, I'm born a male and that's what I'll accept.
But
I don't have to care what other people try peer pressure me into.
But no one's trying to tell you to be no one's trying to tell you have to be a woman, right?
Well, people did try and say I'm a girl because I played with Barbies, if that's what you're saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess that is a thing that, like, a lot of... But, like, that's the whole thing with it being a social thing, right? Because I would do a lot of... I was very feminine as a kid, like, not by... I wasn't trying to be feminine or anything, I was just naturally feminine. And it's one of those things where I was pressured... by calling me a girl, and that, that's supposed to be an insult, that is what pressured me to try to be more masculine. And look, if you've seen, I could send you a photo of me, like, with a beard. You would, like, you would probably agree that it was a bad idea. Like, everyone agrees that it was a bad idea, me trying to grow a beard, right? Yeah, it's one of those things where, and I don't know, like, were people calling you a girl as an insult, or was it just, this kid is...
That was insult.
Yeah.
Obviously insult.
And that's generally to try and pressure you to be more masculine.
Not actually.
A lot of the times, I found it
like
is.
I said, I've never been a guy to fall under peer pressure, though. I've always just been a person that follows... what I know, if I know the truth and a person comes and tries to peer pressure me on something, I just shove it off, kind of thing. It's not something that's bothered me, but I have seen some people that do struggle with peer pressure from both ways, and I do think that kind of hinged your decision, because you said it was like peer pressure, people trying to push you to be manly because they saw you going in that direction. And so it is a difficult situation, though, because, like you say, you do have womanly traits, as you put it, but that doesn't mean that makes you a female. I mean, like I said, that girl that I knew was a tomboy. She's still kind of tomboyish today, but she's married, has children, perfectly still female, just has characteristics of being more butch, you could say, than other females. It doesn't change the fact she's still a female.
There is a difference. Like, firstly, there is a difference between gender and sex. Like, sex usually refers to the biological characteristics. Gender can refer to some biological characteristics, like generally secondary sex characteristics, but they aren't the most important things to gender. Often the most important things to gender are, like, cultural expectations, and obviously how you feel as well. Is another important thing, I'd say. Even if you can't always express it in a certain way.
Yeah, but would you say then, if you're trying to label yourself with a gender, you're kind of just lying to yourself then?
No.
How would you say you're not lying to yourself if you know you're a male, and because I'm going to gender myself female because I feel female? Wouldn't you say that is just going against your biology?
Not at all. Like, I know that, like, I know that I probably have XY chromosomes, right? But my gender is more aligned. Like, as I said, like, I can go to a bar, right? And I'll get hit on by guys, creepy guys, and all that. And it's my experiences. My cultural experiences actually line up more with that of a woman's.
Well, I've got hit on by guys before, so I can't say anything. It didn't go too well for the guy, to be honest, but but yeah, guys have hit on me as well. That doesn't all of a sudden mean I look feminine. You get guys that just are attracted to other men.
I mean, I've been hit on by a lot of guys. Well,
to be fair, I mean, we've even said it before. You would make a pretty girl. You know what I mean? It's not like you're an ugly guy or anything. You do, if you had to put makeup on and stuff, I think you could fool a few people. To be fair, I do.
I mean, so half the time I don't even put makeup on. I'll just just go out and because look, putting makeup on can be a hassle at times. Sometimes it's best to just go casual. But yeah, like when it comes to those kinds of things, a lot of the experiences I have, there is a definite difference between the experiences that I had presenting as a guy and the experiences that I've had presenting as a woman. Those are not something that is... Those are not... Sure, they're not determined by biology. Well, to be fair, I think part of it is determined by biology. The fact that I'm on HRT has changed my face, but... So there is that.
That's the thing. HRT, the hormones, that is also issues why I see with the drug, with the bodybuilders, why they start having feelings for other men. It's because of the HRT, the hormonal imbalances, and that's exactly why you could be feeling the way you do more, because you're having hormonal imbalances because of the HRT.
Well, Look, I had higher testosterone, so I don't think... And me deciding to start HRT was a result of, me going, yeah, I'm trans. It wasn't a result of me starting HRT. I don't think, things...
No, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it's helping the process on.
But, me starting... I've felt, far better, after starting HRT as well. So
but that's what I'm saying, because it's helping you ease into feeling that way. It's giving you how can I put it? A dopamine of, yeah, I'm doing the right thing. It's what drugs do, man.
I'd say that there is, to some extent, it is, I will admit that I think that doing HRT has made me feel more comfortable as a woman, because firstly, when I was thinking about doing HRT, I was like, yeah, I'll only do a little bit of HRT, but then I realized actually no, I feel more comfortable as a woman. So I do think that there is that, but I would say that a lot of my experiences, it's not... I don't think that it's a denial of anything to say that I'm a woman, because of the simple fact is my experiences align more with that of a woman. A lot of times in school, I was called a girl. Sure, it was as an insult, but, it's one of those things where they weren't... it wasn't trying to be... They weren't using language in a way to try and be super specific about my biology. A lot of people have used terms like girl and woman to refer to social standards.
Yeah.
And I'm just doing what everyone else has done for all of history.
No, but I understand what you're saying, but I'm trying to think how I can make this as respectful as possible. Because I don't want to be disrespectful to you. And I really do appreciate this chat, by the way. And I think you're an awesome guy. And we do chat great. So, yeah, I don't want to come out as, sounding disrespectful towards you. But I think I gotta just say, yeah, I don't agree, because I'm like I said, I'm kind of old school. If you're born a certain gender, if you're born a certain sex, then your gender should mirror that. That's how I was brought up. You know what I mean? And I do believe.
I was actually brought up in the same way. Believe it or not, I'm a little older than I look.
No, I understand. I mean, even me, I look a bit younger than I'm supposed to be. But the thing is, like what I'm saying, is on the culture we brought up today, people just believe you can be what you want to be, even though it goes against what you are.
I would say...
And that's the unfortunate truth. So people have conditioned themselves to just accept it and say, because I want to feel this way, therefore I am this way, going against what you actually are.
I would say that this gets into a lot of the... because... The problem that we have with gender is that a lot of people have tried to tie it to sex, right? And there are people that feel comfortable being gender non-conforming, and if you're a gender non-conforming guy or girl, that is fine. but like some people have for some people it is it goes a little bit beyond just being gender non-conforming. Like, I was definitely gender non-conforming as a kid, and then I, because I got made fun of it for that, got bullied for it, I really tried to, be masculine, even though it really didn't work out for me. And I think that because there is this thing of gender that exists in society that is clearly separate to sex, that means that there are people that are going to feel dysphoric about that, because I think one of my ideas about gender is that from a young age we learn the concept of gender and it gets very ingrained into us, and we have this idea of gender, what is associated with each gender. Girls are associated with Barbie dolls, boys are associated with sports and rough and tumble and that kind of stuff. I also hated having to do like rough and tumble sports as a kid too. It's one of these things where whilst gender roles exist, I think that it's best to respect trans people who don't feel comfortable in those gender roles, and rather than trying to be a gender non-conforming person, respect them as the gender that they wish to be. Because, again, whilst there are gender roles, gender is clearly going to be a very different thing to sex.
Yeah, and that's why I say I think it's more disrespectful to expect someone to conform, to call someone something just because they want to be called that. Because you're telling us we're supposed to lie and call you something you're not. And I think that's more disrespectful to try and expect someone to conform to something that they don't agree with.
But calling it a lie just ignores the whole thing that I went on about how...
No. But you understand what I'm saying? Because the thing is, you can associate yourself as a tree, okay? If you want to be called a tree, that's what you want to be called. But it's wrong for you to expect me to call you a tree because you want to call yourself a tree, because I clearly know you're not a tree. You understand where I'm coming from?
Except, there are times when maybe someone would be called a tree, not because it's associated with, it may not be that they are covered in bark or whatever, but it might just be that there is a social role that is called a tree, right? And it may be that some people, it may be that this social role is defined by knighthood or something, right? And someone gets knighted as a tree because they've been brave in war or something like that. But then it could be that there are some people that want to be treated that way for other reasons. I don't know. Maybe they did fight in war, but they just weren't recognized by the Queen or whatever, right? And so they get called a tree socially. And then there'd be people going, oh, well, this person's clearly not a tree, not in any sense. They've never been knighted, and they're not a real tree. But if someone were to try and say in this hypothetical society that you have to actually be covered in bark and all that, they'd be missing the point, because obviously in that society, tree is also a social role.
Okay,
and that's what.
But then I've got another point to make. Let's say someone comes to you and you don't agree with them, but they want you to conform to what they want you to call them. And if you're going to conform to that, it's just going to help them to carry on lying to themselves because they're not what they are. And that just leads down a road of bad, negative things. Do you think that's fair to expect that person to say it's okay? Because it's the same as you saying to me, okay, I have to agree with what's going on, and I know full well it's not a good path to take. So I'm always saying it's okay to do it if I agree with it. Do you think that's fair on me?
I'd say that it would... Now, this is where science actually does come into the discussion, because I would say that it comes down to does this person seem to be happier by a small social change? Like there are people... so, you know, if I say that I want you to call me, you know, I'm no longer Planet Walk, I'm Global Walk, right? If I said that, I don't think that it would be that big of a change for, like, the sake of comfort. If it is something where it is, let's say, something where... I'm just trying to think of a good hypothetical where something is saying, call me this, and it doesn't result in like, you know, they say, call me Sir Barrington Bollyford the Fifth, or something like or something like that, and it clearly doesn't result in you know, it clearly doesn't result in any happiness, or actually something better would be like something really difficult to pronounce, and you know, and something very, very difficult to pronounce, and remember, like, maybe that name from Wales, that's like Laren something something go go go, right? Mm-hmm. Then it may be reasonable to say, hey, you don't seem to be getting much out of this, and it doesn't seem to be improving anything to do with you. In that case, then maybe, but like a lot of things, it's just, hey, call me this. It's not hard to do that.
But you do understand that if you say it makes someone happy, you do know that's only for a short time, though. Because you can be happy today and tomorrow you're not happy anymore.
Well, that's life, isn't it?
I think it's very naive to go on how you feel about something because it makes you feel happy today. Tomorrow, it could be it doesn't make you feel happy anymore. And therefore, you did all this just because it made you feel happy.
I mean, that's literally life. Like, we do things, like, yeah, sure, like, you know, like, getting that promotion. You do a lot of work to get that promotion, and it makes you feel happy, and the next day, it doesn't. It's life. You know, I think that just going with, hey, here's what we want to do in the here and now is perfectly fine. And like treating someone like shit because tomorrow they might not be happy. You know, like disrespecting someone because tomorrow they might not be happy about it, I think is not the good way to go about it.
I agree. I agree with that.
So like when it comes to like trans people, like, yeah, treat them with respect. Treat them in a way that makes them feel happy. If they don't feel happy about it tomorrow, then you know, that's on them. You know, like a lot of people say to me that like I'm gonna regret transitioning, and I've thought a lot about it, and it's like I would go, well, if I regret transitioning, you know, tomorrow, then I wouldn't look back on it and go, oh, I wasted a bunch of effort and a bunch of time. I'd look back on it and go, at least it made me happy for the time that it did.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I actually wanted to ask something now and I can't remember. But I have to say, I am enjoying this conversation, by the way. I think it's a good, productive conversation.
Hopefully I've managed to like sway you a little bit on that, because I do think that it is something which you know, can help a lot of people. If like, it doesn't have to be a thing of you know, you have to treat someone according to their biology. I think it's just a thing of you know, treats people with you know, if someone wants to be called a certain name and use certain pronouns, then it isn't that much effort to do so.
Yeah, see, and that's where, like I said, I disagree, because it's kind of an insult to me when you try and tell me I just have to conform to what you think you are. You see,
Don't-
so that's I'm like, I can respect what you want to be, but I can't respect to call you that because that's not what you are.
Except
Understand?
as
That's I'm like I'm trying to put in as respectful way as I can. It's kind of insulting to expect someone to conform to someone.
don't you
to
think?
lie.
Don't you think that it's like insulting as well to like people that say, "Hey, I'm this is who I am," and then you say, "Well, no, it's not." Based on this,
the thing is,
other thing.
yeah, but let me put it another way. You agree you were born a male.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So we know you're a male, but you want us to call you female. So you trying to say you something that we know you're not.
Except I'm not trying to say that I'm female. The only thing that I try to say that I'm female is that my hormonal profile is more female. But when it comes to like chromosomes, all the other things and all that, I'm probably male. I don't deny that. When I say that I want to be referred to by she, her, or she, they, it's not something where I'm saying I am male. It's something where I'm saying, hey, I embody more of the characteristics of women as a social category, not of men.
Yeah, I understand that, but that's also telling me, okay, I must just accept because you feel that way, I must conform to it. And that's what I'm saying. So it comes from both sides.
I mean,
that it's not right that people expect us to conform to it because they feel that way, where you think it's not right for us not to conform to it because you feel that way.
I mean, we conform to certain things because people feel a certain way all the time, right? Or people say that they feel a certain way all the time. Like, if someone's, one day someone is Mrs. Harrington, and the next day they're Mrs. Heather, and it's like, well, her last name has changed based on how she feels. It's because we can try to say that last names are a result of you can't change your last name because it's showing your biology and who you're descended from. But in reality, it's a social thing, right? And people change their last names when they get married.
Yeah.
And that's all a feeling. That's all a feeling. You can try and justify why you don't want to call someone's last name because because they're not actually descended from a I forgot the last name that I used, Heather. They're not actually descended from someone whose last name is Heather, so therefore, and it's like, well, no, they've just changed their last name because of how they feel. It's and it's the same thing.
I don't really see it the same thing.
Or
but I do agree that we should respect each other. I just don't agree that people should expect us to conform to it and see it as disrespect when we don't conform to it. That's the only thing I don't agree with.
I think that when it comes to those kinds of things, the conforming to it is essentially due to the fact that it'll, like with the last name thing, if you call someone by the wrong last name, sometimes they can get upset about it because it's like, no, I'm married to this person. And I think it's the same with trans people. Like, they can get upset about it, but upset about you referring to them with the wrong pronouns, because that's not the way that they identify anymore. It's simple. It's a simple case of, hey, is this going to make someone? Is this going to upset someone? Right? If it is going to upset someone, then I should probably. If referring to someone in the wrong way is going to upset them, then I should probably refer to them in the way that they prefer to be referred to, right?
No, I don't agree. Because you're saying it's fine, I should just lie. Where, like I said, my belief system is I'm not supposed to lie. So if you're saying, heck, I must lie just to make you feel good, that is being a disrespect to me.
But then it's the case of, is it really a lie? No, because there's social.
Yes,
they're talking about social aspects, not biological aspects. The same goes for if someone changes their. Someone could say, "Oh, I refuse to refer to you by this last name because that has no relation to who you're descended from or even your job." Like if some people have last name of Smith, right? Then they're not a blacksmith. How dare they call themselves Smith? You know, it's.
That's got nothing to do with what you're talking about right now. That's like non sequitur.
But like someone, you see how someone could say, "Hey, you're lying if you refer to your last name as Smith because you got married to someone whose last name is Smith, who's not even a blacksmith," right?
No, if you're married and your surname changed, and they call you that surname, I don't think it's really an issue. The issue here is if you're identifying as something that you're not. You're wanting people to lie just to make you feel good about yourself, and that's
I identify with the social aspects
towards the person.
But I do identify with the social aspects of womanhood. Where is the lie there?
You're a man. You're a male. That's the issue. You are a male. You can want to be called a female because you feel that way.
But I'm not saying that I want to be called. I'm not saying I want to be called a female. I'm saying that I identify with the aspects of womanhood, which socially makes me a woman. There is no lie there.
You know that you see, this is the issue. This is what I'm saying. This should be considered a mental problem because you're trying to identify as something that you're not. I can identify as a tree frog. I'm not a tree frog, but I want to identify as a tree frog because I feel like a tree frog.
If someone
you understand the issue?
If someone
it doesn't make me a tree frog.
If someone has their last name as Smith and they're not married to a blacksmith, they're married to someone whose last name is Smith, who's not even a blacksmith, mind you. That can also be considered a a mental condition because they're wanting their last name to be something that they're not. It's all a matter of.
Well, you see, that goes deeper. It's like now you get males that try to identify as female and they walk into a girl's bathroom. Do you think that's fair?
I think that there are other social things that need to be worked out there, rather than just so. Like when it comes to bathrooms, I think that the best thing to do there is to make sure all the stalls have it so that you can't see into someone else's stall. I think that's a different social thing. And in fact, that kind of stigma was used on used to say, "Oh, we need to keep lesbians out of women's bathrooms," back in the day when it came to gay rights.
Oh, that's quite interesting. But yeah, like I say, because I think you would agree if you just got some weird old pervert man trying to identify as a woman, which gives him now the right to go into the woman's bathroom, you would agree that's just sick. And because people disagree with him, therefore they are transphobic.
I would say that if someone wants to go into the woman's bathroom for whatever reason, they usually can. If someone it doesn't always take much effort to pass as a woman. Sometimes it can take a bit more effort, but it doesn't always take too much effort.
I can tell you something. You're in South Africa. If any person saw a man going into a woman's bathroom for no reason like that, the guy will probably end up in a hospital. To be honest, it's not very easy.
But the people that get most affected by this kind of stuff are the people that saying, "Oh, because of this rare instance that could happen, we need to stop. We need to stop trans women from using the bathroom." That doesn't stop the guy that is still going to go in there anyway. What do you think? Do you think if someone's going into a bathroom to break the law, do you think that another law is going to stop them? No. the issue that you get is that it hurts not just trans women, but also cis women that are, butch, like if they look really butch or look rather masculine, that don't conform to ideals of womanhood.
That's also an issue, because the thing is, 90% of the time you can clearly see if it's a man or a woman, though.
Not always. There are times when sometimes people have literally gone. There's times when cis women have gone to the bathroom, and then someone is like, "How dare you use a woman's bathroom?" And they're like, I have a vagina."
Yeah, but I'm saying 90% of the time you do get those rare cases where you can't really tell, which is odd. But yeah, I mean, we spoke about it before we started talking about a case of a guy who raped a whole bunch of women, and then he changed his gender to woman, to female, and he ended up going to a woman's prison for raping women. Now,
and in that case,
how is that in any way fair to the system of, to the people that actually are victimed by this?
And in that case, so firstly, I would want to be careful with how things are defined. But if we're talking specifically about that, I would say that there should be times where that shouldn't, if someone says, "Oh, I identify as this," to try and get out of, when they clearly, if someone says, "I identify as this," without having gone through any attempts to, change their gender beforehand or anything like that, then clearly they're trying to, subvert where they should be placed, right?
But wouldn't that be you divining his motives, though? Because you're saying just because he did it afterwards, then therefore he's just clearly doing it to get his way.
Well, in some cases, when it comes to trans people in prisons, sometimes you do have to consider a trans person's safety. In the case of someone who is very masculine presenting and who has done something bad and is clearly trying to get out of that, it's I feel like sometimes you can take some liberties to go, "Hey, this person doesn't need protection. Doesn't need any kind of special protection." However, when it comes to trans women in prisons, actual people who have, if for whatever reason I went to prison, the flat earthers took charge and I got thrown in prison somehow. I think that for me, I would be at the particular risk of, of having bad things in prison happen to me. That would be the same, if not similar, risk of if a cis woman got thrown into a male's prison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I just wanted to bring up issues like that up, because I think there's a lot of issues revolving around just, hey, because I feel this way, just conform to it, and that's where I leave this. And so I'm I don't want to be disrespectful or anything, but I do see it as disrespectful to expect us to just conform to a lie. That's what I was saying.
Sometimes there are niche cases, and in niche cases, it is. Sometimes you do have to think about, okay, like prisons, for example. It's a very niche case where it's if we're going to draft laws about this, we need to make sure that the laws don't allow for people to abuse those laws. In everyday conversation, I think it's fine to just respect, hell, when it comes to pronouns, just using someone's preferred pronouns, it's really easy to do. It's not, some people prefer to be referred to as they, them, right? And in fact, I'd like it if everybody got referred to by they, them pronouns, and I don't see like, even if you try to, like, somehow, make some biology argument about, how pronouns are connected to biology or whatever, it's the existence of they, them pronouns shows that it's a social construct. The idea of pronouns itself is a social construct, just a way to refer to people. I have been referred to as she, her multiple times by people that clearly knew that I was a male, but were trying to, be disrespectful.
Make fun of me, yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, sometimes it's just very easy to accommodate people.
Yeah, and then the last question I was asked is, would you think it's fair to expect someone to call you what you want to be called just because you want to be called that way?
I think people do it all the time. Like, if you want me to call you Flatzoid, I will call you Flatzoid.
Yeah, that's just what's the name? You can call me on my name, but like I say, if you, for instance, get someone and you expect them, they must just call you that name. Don't you think it's kind of hypocritical to just expect us, okay, because you want to be called that, we must call you that. But how am I putting this? My train of thought is lost now. But I think you get the point. I think we'll both just sit with, we respect each other, but we disagree. We agree to disagree. How's that?
Yeah, I do want to move on, but because I think people are starting to feel that we are going in a loop.
In circles.
My closing thought on this, I guess, will be that it's not hard to just simply respect someone, and a lot of it is all social constructs anyway. It's not as though we're trying to talk about truth and some objective truth in half the cases. It's just, hey, this is common courtesy. If I accidentally call someone she, her when they clearly identify as a guy and have whatever, it's that I don't think that's a lie. It's just a mistake on my part, and I think that. Yeah, I think that it's just a common courtesy that should be afforded and makes people live better lives if you be respectful.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think we should try to be as respectful as each other, but we shouldn't expect someone to conform to what we want just because we have beliefs.
I'd disagree. I'd say that everyone has things that they'd like other people to conform to, but as I said, names.
Because like I said, I could have pushed Christianity tonight but I haven't touched it because I understand you're not spiritual. You understand? So I could have pushed it onto you, but I understand to respect you not being a Christian, I don't need to do that.
We could have a Christianity discussion sometime eventually. I do want to get to super chats because there's been 3 of them. So the first one is: does Flatzoid know that it has nothing to do with what you eat, etc.? What an uninformed person. I'm not.
No, what you eat when you have hormones definitely plays a role in food you eat and the type of chemicals in your body and stuff. Don't know where this guy's coming from, but it's definitely GMOs have been found to change hormonal balances as well. I'd disagree with that because a lot of people say GMOs, where everything is genetically modified, right? Everything. Yeah, everything has been genetically modified. Even things that, if you grow a carrot and it's not blue, that carrot has been genetically modified to be orange. Yeah, it never used to be, by the way. Even bananas have changed.
Yeah, everything has been genetically modified. I don't think that GMOs are something that do something specific about hormones. I think it's just, hey, let's try and grow this thing in a different way.
Let's look at mostly meat products, probably. Okay, things that let's say on the farm, they push a lot of hormones into them to grow quicker so they can get fat. And a lot of girls today hit puberty much earlier because of those hormones. Some girls even grow beards at like age 10, 11 because of these hormones. But yeah, it's been shown that chemicals and hormones and stuff in foods and things do change how a person's body reacts.
I don't know enough about the subject to agree or disagree. I do know that when I take hormones, it changes how my body works. But I would say that I don't think these are in significant amounts to change all that much. Maybe it does change a little, but I mean, a lot of people make claims about how foods change. Because I have like soy or something, people think that I'm a low testosterone beta male. I had high testosterone before I transitioned. There's a lot of, I think people can a lot of times will say, oh, this is the culprit, when in fact it's not necessarily the culprit. And sometimes there's been no link shown, especially like with the whole, a lot of people try to say that, phytoestrogens are a result, will cause people to be more feminine, when that, from all the studies that I've shown, none of them have shown that phytoestrogens cause people to be more feminine.
Okay.
I think that there's a lot of things where people make assumptions about certain things, and those assumptions get spread around, and where those assumptions may or may not be incorrect.
Yeah.
Another person. No, Wouter. I forgot how to pronounce his name. God damn it. Said, Flatzoid, your antiquated thoughts about gender is just why you'll never understand it. From your religion, you need to forgive and accept and embrace differences. What you do is just the opposite.
What my religion teaches, it's part of sodomy. It's blasphemous to God's image, and it's seen as something that's very bad. It's, how can I put it? It's separation from God. So based on my religion, I have to actually talk about it to say, hey, it's a sin. God forgives. God loves you, and I'm showing respect. I mean, I haven't been disrespectful tonight at all. I disagree with you, just like you disagree with me.
Here's a question for you. So if I were a Christian, I would take the position, and I think there are Christians that take this position. God gave us the mechanisms to be able to change gender at will.
No.
Being able to take hormones is something that God built into us to be able to change aspects of ourselves.
No. If you look at, for instance, let's say Leviticus 20 verse 13. If a man lies with a male as with a woman, both of them have committed the abomination, and they shall surely be put to death. Their blood is upon them. It's seen.
I'm not
it's
sure.
Really bad. Why do you think Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed?
Because they were not because they were not I believe in, I can't remember what thing in the Bible it was. It was because the sin of Sodom and Gomorrah was not what's that?
That's why it's called Sodom. It was sodomy.
If I remember correctly, the sin of Sodom and Gomorrah was that they weren't. I forget the word.
They were sexually impure. They were doing abominations.
Yes. It was Sodomites. To do with It was to do with hospitality. They weren't.
Nothing got to do with hospitality, mate.
If someone has the verse on hand, please. I can't remember the exact verse. I think it's in Matthew.
Jude 1 verse 7. Just as Sodom and Gomorrah and the surrounding cities, which likewise indulge in sexual immorality and pursued unnatural desire, serve as an example by undergoing a punishment of eternal fire.
I can't remember. I can't remember the exact verse. I think it's in like Matthew or something where it said the sin of Sodom and Gomorrah was lack of hospitality or something like that.
Sexual immorality, mate. They were sodomites.
I don't know enough about the religion to like argue, but like I do remember something about hospitality as far as I remember.
No, they were very hospitable to people. They wanted people to have orgies with them constantly, so they were very hospitable.
I mean, if you're saying that that someone must indulge in your desires, then that doesn't sound very hospitable.
No, I'm just pointing out because based on.
Didn't they want to rape the angels? Didn't they want to rape those angels that came?
Yes, they did.
Isn't that why they went into his house?
I mean, that doesn't sound very, very like they're being very hospitable. You know, like it sounds like at the very least, like there was definitely a thing of them not being hospitable to the. Someone said Matthew 11:12. Matthew 11:12. What was that? Truly I tell you, from the days of John the Baptist till now, the kingdom of heaven. I don't know if that's...
Yeah, that's got nothing to do with that.
Yeah. Anyway, well...
Because John the Baptist is talking about Jesus there, by the way.
Yeah.
In Matthew 11:12, saying he's greater and no one's greater than him.
Someone said, hold on, if I switch to live chat, no, nothing came up. Anyway, the person that I can't remember how to pronounce the name of, who probably, who may have sent me a message about, said, ask him this, what does it really matter what you call yourself? I identify as Q. Voila, better add a gender to the list.
That's what I said, when it comes based on my belief system, it would be called a lie if I just had to say you're something that we know you're not.
Except, look,
and the Bible speaks about we're not supposed to lie. So I don't want to go and lie and feel good about it, because then it wouldn't be Christian-like. It would be actually going against what I believe, because I am then just saying, okay, it's okay to lie.
Yeah, I think we've been over this enough to like.
Yeah.
Yeah, like everyone knows what I think that you're not exactly lying into. To like, you know. Strawberry Blush said, religion is a position on the state of reality. Pronouns are just a way to refer to someone. Apples and oranges.
I'm going to give the same answer again, so it doesn't help answering it.
Oh, I would actually agree with them, because like saying that God exists, like saying that a god or gods exist is hey, this is a position on reality. Pronouns are a social construct. If you know, like it's all social politeness. Like in 50 years, it could be that everyone is just referred to as she, her. You know.
And that's the way they're brought up.
You know.
That's the way they're brought up to believe in.
But
this is why. Why do you think they're pushing so hard now when children are born in the hospitals not to put their sex there?
I haven't seen that, but like it could. I mean, it could be a thing of saying, hey, it could just be a thing of, hey, we don't want to unnecessarily force gender roles onto kids. I would.
So you see, that's what I'm saying. It is linked to sex then. if you're trying to say you don't want to force a gender role on someone, then it is linked to sex. Because if a child is born a female, that's their sex. If a child is born a male, that's their sex. Then if it's just a construct for them to be called something, then why do they worry if they're going to be called male or female, even though they born sex?
Like as I said, I haven't heard them saying. I haven't heard anyone saying, this is a new rule or anything for hospitals. But like, if someone is trying to do that, I would assume that it would have to do with, trying to not force gender roles on anyone. That's what I'd assume at least. Or sometimes I do know that when it comes to sex is actually a marker for gender. I know that on New Zealand birth certificates, they actually, like, sex on your birth certificate just means gender. They use it in a, like, I assume that there's some legal reason, but like it's very weird the way that they do it. But yeah, I don't know enough about that to make any definitive statement. Stephen Jarvis says that life is too short. Everyone should be allowed to live their life as they want to.
And that's where I was to disagree to a certain extent. If everybody could just live the life that they want to, hey, someone wants to be a serial killer, he can just live the way he loves to. Go and kill everybody that you want to. Who is anybody to judge him?
I'd say that
this guy wants to be a rapist, a serial rapist. Let him rape everybody because he wants to live as a rapist.
I would say that, like, freedom to live your life as you want to does not mean freedom from consequences if you do something bad. Like people say freedom of speech, right? I'm sure you're someone that loves free speech, right?
Obviously.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that freedom from me saying, hey, I disagree with you, right? I have my own freedom of speech to disagree with you on things. So me trying to say, hey, I don't think this like me responding to you isn't me silencing or getting rid of your free speech. Likewise, your freedom to do what you want stops when you are impacting someone else.
Look. The reason why I'm saying this is like Jarvis's statement is because it's nonsensical. It goes against all logic and reason. This is why Christianity is basing its morals on Jesus, on God, because we have a reference to base all our morals on. So yeah, we can live a life we want to based on those morals. Not just we can live a life how we want to, because then anybody can do what they want, and who is anybody to say that they're not allowed to?
I would say that, like, when it comes to these morals, a lot of morals are up for debate. I think that if, like, someone wants to say that, like let's say weed, that's been a big one. Like, say that should be you should be thrown in prison for smoking weed. I'd disagree with that. I think that they're not hurting anyone. So it comes down to, hey, if you're not hurting someone, live your life how you want to. You know?
Okay.
Anyway, Strawberry Blush says, lots of love, planner, heart emoji, transgender flag emoji, sup Flatzoid.
That's good to see, guys. Yeah, and I have to say hi to everyone in your chat as well.
Yeah, I've got a decent amount of people in my chat.
Even Brenda.
String in news for $5 says, if your religion is all existential, good for you, but don't make me live by that rule. I'm sick of the bullying from religious zealots.
And that's why I didn't push it on you tonight, because I don't see the need to push it on anybody.
I would say, personally, that having a discussion about something, like saying, hey, this is what I believe, this is, and, people maybe disagreeing with that, I wouldn't say that it's necessarily pushing, like, it's when you I would say that pushing it on people is when you try to make people abide by it. That's what Whereas discussions about...
Yeah, imagine I came on here and said, hellfire, just because you don't believe in what I believe. You know, I don't agree with that approach to things. So yeah, that's what I say. I don't need to push my beliefs. You know my beliefs. I know you don't believe it, so I don't push it. That's how we just had a normal, respectful conversation. So...
Anyway, I do want to get to other topics because there were other topics that I did have lined up that I am really excited to get to.
We'll have to do those another night then, because I mean I got work in the morning and it's already.
Damn! Because I was really wanting to get to city design because that's a fun topic.
City design, what's that?
So my preferred type of city is a city where you can get where you need to be by walking within 15 minutes. Preferably,
I know what you're talking about.
Preferably 5 minutes, because 5 minutes, you know, I have the ability to do that. Like, sometimes it takes me a bit longer. Like later today, I'm going to go to the doctor, and that's like a bit longer of a walk, unfortunately. But
have you ever heard of herding before?
What's that?
Herding.
A little bit.
That's practically what 15-minute cities are made about.
I'd say that it's about convenience. And also the fact that, like, here's the thing. I'd say that suburban hellscapes are actually worse for the whole herding thing, because it's like, what do you need to get anywhere? You need a car. What do you need to be able to drive a car? You need a license. You also need to be able to afford the car, and you need to be able to afford petrol. So your ability to get anywhere is actually severely it's limited by like corporations and government.
Okay, let me put it this way: if you're gonna stay in this 15-minute city, you're not gonna be able to own a car. You're not going to be able to have anything. You're going to have a social credit score that if they decide you're not keeping up to it, they can just block everything. You're going to literally be stranded with no way to do anything because you've been herded into a position where you can't defend yourself. That's practically what it is, man. Meanwhile,
in the real world,
that is the real world, mate.
Meanwhile, in the
but like I said, meanwise, talk about this next time, if you don't mind, because it is quite late.
Yeah,
so maybe I'd love to have this conversation.
Yeah, I wanted to. This is one of the main ones that I wanted to get to. But yeah, I'll let you go. But yeah, I'll like really quickly talk to my audience.
We'll talk again, then we can have another thing, because I actually enjoy this discussion, by the way.
Yeah,
I think we can have
like even though we disagreed, there was at least some civility.
Yeah, definitely. I think we can be civil with each other. I think you agree.
Yeah, but anyway, I'll let you go, and I'll talk to my audience about like the conversation I kind of started there and get my thoughts.
Awesome. Sorry about that. It's kind of late. I mean, we can definitely do another time. So hit me up on Discord again, and we can work out a scheduled event to talk again. Then we can do that city one if you want. Okay.
I'll take care.
Sure. Really appreciate it, man, and thanks for the chat. And just know I am praying for you, man.
I've got a lot of people praying for me.
Well, anyway, Strongs, man, and it was great having a chat. We'll chat again.
All right, take care.
Cheers, you too. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Okay. Yeah, my thoughts on the whole. So, like, he brought up a few things, like social credit score. That, like, if you want to get a car, like a brand new car, you have to have a social credit score. If you don't have the money, it's not called a social credit score. It's called a credit rating. What else? Like you're herded into like the suburban area, and in the real world, it's like, that's why I really wanted to get to that discussion, because like I think it would have been fun, because a lot of the criticisms of 15-minute cities are actually criticisms that can exist towards car-centric suburban hellscapes, right? But yeah, that would have been a fun discussion. 100 years ago, hardly anyone borrowed money to buy things. Yeah, like you, and meanwhile, right? Meanwhile, you have the whole idea of mortgages. And not just mortgages, renting. You don't own the house that you live in. It's not like... It's not as though you're renting to be able to buy the house. And, like, I think mortgages, I believe, are cheaper than rents because people that buy houses want the mortgage, want the rent to pay off their mortgage. It's... And then once their mortgage is paid off, well, they're just making free money. It's wild. That's why I would love to like talk more on this channel about 15-minute cities and all that kind of stuff. My mortgage doubles what I pay for my house. It will never be paid off. Yeah, like they put you into debt like for like. It would have been interesting to talk about like socialism as well, but like I know that is a finicky topic that like because like a lot of people have like criticize the system are also really against socialism. I wouldn't say that I'm like for like I wouldn't say that I'm for like every brand of socialism. There are bad forms of socialism out there, but like I think that at least like people having more control over their lives is a good thing. My government engineered the banks to charge me 40% more for the same thing. Yeah. To stop foreign invest. Oh yeah, and here in New Zealand, they go on about foreign investment, like it's a big thing, and then the government tried to go ahead, like they banned foreign investment, or people from, like foreign investors from being able to buy houses in New Zealand. That didn't solve the housing crisis, surprise, surprise. But then the current government was wanting to, have a tax windfall from foreign investors buying houses, and then all the economists disagree with them, saying, hey, this is not going to work. I support socialism in meaning that all companies should be owned by the employees who would get any... Yeah. I think that there should be two forms of company. Alright? Worker co-op and government run. Those should be the two forms of company that exist. Government-run companies would be specifically for things where price gouging takes place, like when people are overcharged. If you want to talk about like inflation going up, the main drivers of inflation it isn't like people say, government spending causes inflation. No. Government doesn't raise the prices on food. Corporations do. Corporations raise prices on food. And then they don't pay their workers anymore to be able to compensate for that. Corporations and landlords raise rent prices. Rent prices are like way too high for what they're charging for, and then everyone is priced out of the housing market so that you can't buy a house. So yeah, I got priced out of housing when the prices doubled in a week. A week? Jesus. Welcome to Belgium. Prices can be kept here to protect people. Same for the housing market. Yeah, I think a lot of people say that rent caps won't do anything, and I do know that there are some arguments against rent caps, like it stops people from from certain things. But personally, I think that housing should be owned by the government, or at least a decent portion of housing should be owned by the government, and should, if it's a half and half model, housing should be partially owned by the government as a way to compete with private housing, basically undercutting it to some extent, to essentially act as a market regulator, without completely regulating the market. Like, because if there's a cheaper option, then the people that are trying to extort people, they lose out. Only problem is that everyone is going to go for the cheapest option. Everyone. And so the cheapest option will very, very quickly get filled up. So it'd be hard to work it out, but I think that at the very least, government should strive to compete with private interests, and that could be a good way to potentially somewhat regulate the market without actually regulating the market to some extent. Unfortunately, things are priced on what the market will bear. Yeah, it is. Like, if someone is willing to pay a price, people will sell it for that price. Like, that's what scalpers do, right? If a scalper will buy something, they'll sell it for as much as they can get for it. Like the PlayStation 5 things, they were selling it for like much more than they bought it for, because they had essentially gotten, cut off everyone from the original market, meaning that they could charge more than the market, the natural market can. There are approximately 3,000 too many billionaires in the world. Yeah, like I like that idea of once you reach $999 million in value, you get a thing that says, "Congratulations, you completed capitalism." Governments should also create government taxi services to compete with Uber. Yes. And okay, big brain time. Government taxi services that, and rather than individual cars, right? You have cars that hold a lot of people, so that, and this will be more efficient than Uber because they hold a lot of people, and to make it so that you can kind of get where you need to go, they can go on particular routes, right? Because otherwise, otherwise you're gonna have to like get dropped off or get picked up from your house. Then you have to gonna pick another person up from their house, and then pick another person up for their house. So there can be routes that go close to every neighborhood. Oh shit! I've reinvented buses. So yeah. Yeah, buses are just Uber extra large. Watch Tech Bros Invented Trains and It Broke Me by Adam Something. Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of Adam Something's videos. But there are times when buses don't work, such as when you need to transport heavy objects. Buy widescreen TVs and bring it up. Okay, so here's what I think. So when I envision my carless utopia, what I'm envisioning is the absence of privately owned cars. Sometimes there will be a need to buy something, and like if you're wanting to move houses, you need like a van or something. So what do you do? Okay, well, you rent a van and have it and deliver it. There's still going to be need for like vans and stuff, like, but not to the point where it shouldn't be to the point where it just like makes roads unwalkable. So yeah, some buses had big signs on them saying each bus took 35 cards off the road. They changed that with getting better drivers. Yeah. That means requiring a driver's license. Yeah, so I think that these renting things, you know, it would be good if you can also like rent a driver. You know, like if I order something from overseas, right? It's not sent to the like I can get it delivered to my door. It's not sent to like some postal service in there. I've got to pick it up. I can just go, hey, like I've got these little things. I've got these things, right? I've got these things, right? And I ordered them from overseas, and someone delivered it. You can have that. Like if you buy something from Walmart, I believe Walmart has their own delivery thing. You know, probably. I know that there have been some instances where companies have had their own delivery service for like delivering things to people's houses, like because it's big objects, right? Just do that, and then you take a lot of vehicles off the road, because like a lot of people might get like a truck or something for, just in case I need it. That's really annoying when people like get big cars just in case they need it, and it's like you do realize that there's this yeah, it's annoying. I could be like 5 minutes from the supermarket if like cities were designed better and like people didn't feel the need to like have urban sprawl and all that. Most of the time cars in the garage. Yeah, I actually saw Let me know in chat if you'd like to see this video. I saw a video by Neil deGrasse Tyson where he basically invents taxis. He says, a lot of the time you're not using your car, and it's like, and he says like self-driving could mean that when you're not using the car, it goes and drives other people. It's like, yeah, that's called a taxi, Neil. You know, it's... Yes, in the USA, Walmart has their own delivery service. Yeah, it can be like that, where like things have their own delivery service. Obviously, I don't want it to be like Amazon, where it's like overworking employees. Like, shit, that's bad. But, you know, like, if you did something where it's... Also, like, if you made places smaller, then it makes it more economical to get around, so you don't have to, you know, if they've got freeways everywhere, and, you know, and suburban sprawl, then, like, you want to deliver something, of course it's going to take ages to deliver anything, so get rid of that. Then it's gonna help the Amazon employees. That's my socialist take. Help the Amazon employees by first making it a worker co-op, and by second, we get rid of the thing that puts a lot of stress on them. Did you talk no? It's not about flat Earth. We didn't talk about flat Earth at all, Wes Wally. We talk about like some flat Earth adjacent stuff, but like not flat Earth itself. I enjoyed talking about something that wasn't flat Earth for once. Like, it's very refreshing. I sometimes get annoyed by like people only wanting to watch things that have to do with flat Earth. That's why I want to talk about other things, you know. But yeah, it was. People use Walmart delivery services. It takes me 25 minutes to walk to the local supermarket. Yeah, it takes me 15. Since when did Sparkly get more friends? I'm confused. Walmart won't deliver to me. They complain about a pond being in the way. Well, is a pond in the way? I don't know much about like this. I would like to go, well, yeah, they should deliver regardless, but like maybe there is a pond in the way and they can't get around it. It is refreshing, but Flatzoid, he was surprisingly nice to you. Yeah, it is nice when like Flat Earth, like I think one of the tips like for okay, so you got people like Oakley, and no matter how nice you are to Oakley, he's just going to be a dick, right? But then there are some people who, regardless of how like, well, there are some people who it depends on how you talk to them as how they're going to talk to you, because they don't want to come off as unhinged. And I think a lot of people are like that. Like, if you get me heated on something, yeah, I'm going to go off on you. But, like, if you're nice to me, I'm going to be nice back. Yeah, like Jeranism. I'd love to talk to Jeranism, but he's blocked me. Like, I was watching FTFE's stream once, and, like, Jeranism was in chat, and I could not see any messages by Jeran because he had blocked me. The Atlantic or Pacific Pond. Oh, I get it now. Yeah, I can understand. In that case, maybe they don't need to deliver to you. Like, Craig is nice, but FTFE... Yeah, FTFE can sometimes be a little bit too harsh. But, like, yeah, but, like, there are times when I've seen him be respectful to people, and it's like... But there are times when I've been like, dude needs to chill a bit. Yeah. I think a lot of people, it depends, like, their metric on how they're going to talk to someone depends on like how they're treated. If someone gets aggressive with them, they'll be aggressive back. FTFE, well, I notices he starts when the other person starts. Yeah, I haven't watched enough of his debates to really gain a metric on that. I've just noticed that there are a few times when I've thought that dude needs to calm down a little bit, because it is a case of, you know, like, one person can start it, and like, you know, if I get like aggressive to someone, when someone else starts it, you know, fair. I think it's fair. Like, if someone starts it and then the other person gets aggressive, that's completely fine. But like, optically, it can look a little bit. Optically, it can be like, oh, this person started it and this person's getting triggered or whatever. It can be a bit. You probably don't want to come off that way. It doesn't help anyone. But, you know, that being said, FTFE, I think a lot of his stuff is for entertainment. It's not... like, people love to watch a dumpster fire. So sometimes a dumpster fire is just fun to watch. And I think a lot of people might have been expecting that, but, like, I didn't deliver. Sorry if there was no dumpster fire and you're expecting it. It's Craig if they are respectful, FTFE if not. Okay. Yeah. I do like to give people a bit of, like, I could have gone off on Flatzoid because, like, I do think the whole not using someone's preferred pronouns and stuff is disrespectful. But, like, I decided to remain calm, and because it is, if I hadn't been calm, then, like, people would have gone, well, fuck you, there's no reason to listen to you. Alright, so, and, like, to be fair on Craig, Flat Earth debates, they're just fun, you know. You know, they're entertainment. They're not something that I really take seriously. So like there's something that can be fun to just watch a dumpster fire happen. With other discussions, such as like trans issues and stuff, it's best to be calm because you want people to respect you. So yeah. In his own mind, he is being respectful. Flatzoid doesn't understand the details. Yeah, that is true. Like, he does think that he's being respectful, and like he seems to think that it's disrespectful to ask him to quote unquote deny truth. But again, like we're talking about like a lot of semantics here. Like I said this many times because we're going in circles around it, but like like things like pronouns, like just starting with pronouns. They're a formality. Just use someone's correct pronouns. It's not lying to. Like, firstly, I don't think it's lying to misgender someone or correctly gender them. It's just you're using pronouns that it's like respect, right? You're either being respectful or you're being disrespectful. You may be being. You may accidentally misgender someone. That's fine. As long as you don't continue to purposely misgender them, as long as you try to correct yourself. Right? You tried to explain your point. The fact that he doesn't go with your explanations doesn't mean anything. The majority does understand you. Yeah. But it was a good sort of exercise in... it was a good kind of exercise in trying to make sure that I can explain my point concisely. But again, like you do get to the point where it's just an impasse, where it's like he believes that I'm lying. I don't think that it's a lie because, firstly, like gender is based on something. Like, sure, it's a social construct, but it is based on something in reality. Gender exists. Like money is a social construct, but it exists, right? We can argue about whether it's a good social construct or a bad social construct, but it still exists. It's not something that... It's not something that is necessarily a... It's not something that is necessarily a lie or anything. It's just, they exist. You can, like, disagree with gender being a thing and say, I don't think it should be a thing. It's like, cool, let's work towards that, but for now it is a thing, so we should, if someone has something like gender dysphoria, which is another thing which does exist, by the way, then we should try to not make their problems worse. And I should have, that's something I should have said to him, when he said about it being a mental thing, and it's like, sure, it's a mental thing, but like, you have an option to either, like, if you misgender someone, you're making their issues worse. Anyway, I think it's a good idea to end up the stream. So, we established that Flannel identifies as a tree and Flatzoid identifies as a tree frog. True. I think we also like found out that Flatzoid maybe would be fun for him to explore his gender. I'm not going to push that on him though, because it's like it's up to him. I'm not going to be like, hey, you said some eggy stuff, so therefore you've got to transgender. I agree gender exists, but I'm 46 years old. It's not something my dad and mum would necessarily... you would expect to understand, but they do. It says a lot about the ones left behind. What a pity, yeah. Like, my mum didn't understand it at first, but she got there. It's... Eventually, yeah. You have to be willing to learn. A lot of people aren't. But yeah. Anyway... yeah, leave a like and subscribe if you like that stream. That was a fun stream. And it was great to like have a bit of a talk to chat after Flatzoid left, because I like rambling my own things. And hey, if anyone has something to send me about like this topics that I've talked about, like especially like the 15-minute cities stuff and the you know, urbanism, I would love to make videos on that kind of stuff. Please, please, someone send me stuff about urbanism, or send me stuff about urbanism, send me stuff about 15-minute seas that I can make videos on. Like, no, and don't just send me an Adam something video, because it's like, oh yeah, like he's already made a video. You know, send me videos like someone like if Jordan Peterson has made a video ranting about 15-minute seas, send that to me. I would love to make a video on it. I will deliver on that, please. I hear people only on Twitter talking about 15-minute cities. I want to make more videos on like urbanism and stuff, because it like, that's why I wanted to talk to Flatzoid about it, because I don't get to talk about it enough. Thanks all trees in the chat. Yeah, let's create the hypothetical society that I came up with, where like people get called trees. Alright. Anyway. What was I saying? Yep, everyone leave a like and subscribe if you like the video. Be sure to send me things to make videos about urbanism and stuff like that, because I want to. And hopefully I'll get the chat working. I think it's over here. Yep, it would be over here next time, hopefully. Because that broke for some reason. But anyway, I will see you in the next stream or video. Between you and me, thank you for watching. I actually have a ukulele here. I can like play like a little thing to send us off.